Why Ronnie Stanley is far and away the Chiefs' best option at left tackle for 2025. The Chiefs already had a major need at left tackle this offseason, but with the trade of Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears, Kansas City must have a huge card up their sleeve for filling left tackle. The Kansas City Chiefs have to fill their left tackle spot once again. It was already clear that this spot on the offensive line was one of their major team needs for the 2025 offseason, but with the sudden trade of Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears, hitting at left tackle became even more vital for Kansas City. The Chiefs still have leaders in Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith to lean on up front, but with Thuney's departure, Kansas City lost a great mix of leadership, experience, dependability, and trust. Following the Thuney trade, it makes the idea of Kingsley Suamataia moving inside to guard even more likely. While the free agent market doesn't have many options for needy teams like the Chiefs, there is a clear favorite who stands out above the rest: Baltimore Ravens tackle Ronnie Stanley. If the Chiefs hope to acquire the veteran services, the pressure to land him likely becomes even greater after the move involving Thuney. Why does Ronnie Stanley stand as the clear best option in free agency for Kansas City? Plus, is he the greatest option the Chiefs could go with to fill the left tackle spot out of all options this offseason? Minimal needle-moving options in free agency. If you're a team looking to sign an offensive tackle in this year's free agent class, you have to understand what aisle you are shopping in. Teams will not find many slam dunk options on the open market. Most of the names available are likely nearing the end of their career, or they've not consistently seen the field. Some have also held roles that are lesser than being a blindside protector for one of the league's best quarterbacks. If the Chiefs cannot land someone of Ronnie Stanley's stature, here are the top options available to sign. Veterans like Cam Robinson and Tyron Smith begin the list. Elsewhere, Dan Moore Jr., Morgan Moses, and Jedrick Wills Jr. are options with various levels of starting experience. Alaric Jackson would have been an intriguing young choice in free agency, but before he could reach the market, the Los Angeles Rams brought him back on a 3-year deal. It is safe to say that even entering his age 31 season, Stanley is 3 times better for KC than anyone else on this list. Stanley is coming off stellar season after career hurdles. Ronnie Stanley had one of his best career seasons in 2024. No better time for that, with his latest contract coming to an end. He played and started in all 17 games last season. The ability to remain healthy was a major accomplishment for Stanley. He had a devastating ankle injury in 2020, forcing him to miss all but 7 games combined in 2020 and 2021. He did play and start in double-digit games for 2022 and 2023. However, he still missed snaps within certain drives and chunks of time. A knee injury also created issues in that stretch. The injury history will be tricky to contend with for any team looking to swoop in and sign Stanley. Yet the fact that the longtime Raven was healthy, and more importantly, dominant, is key entering his free agency. His pass blocking was the smoothest it had been in an extended stretch in quite some time. ESPN credited Stanley with a 92% pass block win rate in 2024. He is also used to facing some elite pass rushers in the AFC North. Is the draft route really that beneficial for Kansas City? The upcoming NFL draft may be a spot where the Chiefs look to address left tackle. Even if they do not take one early, adding more offensive tackle depth with their selections could easily be fathomable. They drafted 3 total offensive linemen last year, for instance. However, is going the draft route really that beneficial for Kansas City? For the last handful of seasons, drafting offensive tackles and developing them has not worked out for the Chiefs. Names like Lucas Niang, Wanya Morris, and Kingsley Suamataia have yet to provide a fair return on investment as former top 100 draft picks, although more time is certainly needed to determine Suamataia's ultimate fate. Nonetheless, Kansas City may not feel comfortable forcing another top draft choice into the fire at left tackle. Addressing the left tackle spot in some form before the draft has to at least be considered. Stanley fits mold of previous major swings. By Veach, even with his injury history and being in his early 30s, Ronnie Stanley presents a huge opportunity for the Chiefs. Landing him would fit the category of major swings that general manager Brett Veach has taken. If Kansas City has lost in the Super Bowl or failed to get there, the Chiefs GM generally fixes the biggest weakness in a way that grabs headlines. Getting Ronnie Stanley to protect Patrick Mahomes would do just that. The Thuney trade opens up some spending capacity for 2025. Could Stanley be the plan that Kansas City is looking to execute? If so, they can secure the stability on the left side of the offensive line that they lose from moving on from Thuney. But if they lose out on landing him, or if Stanley is not the plan, the Chiefs are playing a dangerous game. They have to have something in mind to fix the issue. Kansas City may have to play at or near the top of the market to fill their desperation. Chiefs pursuing former. 98 million LT makes sense. After Thuney trade, the Kansas City Chiefs shocked the NFL world on the morning of March 5th when they elected to trade four-time All-Pro 2 first-team, 2 second-team left guard, and recent team MVP winner Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears ahead of free agency. Sure, it was always a possibility that KC could eventually move on from Thuney, but after general manager Brett Veach's NFL Combine message that talked about prioritizing the offensive line and head coach Andy Reid's glowing praise for the veteran blocker who successfully made a late-season switch to left tackle, it felt like the Chiefs would keep the future Hall of Famer for one more year. In the end, that didn't happen, and Kansas City chose to instead get something back for Thuney, a 2026 fourth-round pick, while also shedding $16 million in cap space. Needless to say, this move begs the question, what's next on the offensive line? Without Thuney and a reliable answer at left tackle, the Chiefs now have a gaping hole protecting Patrick Mahomes' blindside, and former KC quarterback Chase Daniel urged Veach to fix that with a big-time splash in free agency. There's only one player that makes sense for the Chiefs in free agency now that All-Pro Joe Thuney is gone. Baltimore Ravens left tackle Ronnie Stanley, Daniel posted on X. Adding Deanna Rossini, I did a dream scenario segment on the Scoop City podcast Tuesday while it was a joke. Now it has to happen. Later in the afternoon on March 5th, The Athletic's Nate Taylor confirmed, per his sources, that the Chiefs plan to target Stanley in free agency. Chiefs expected to entertain Ravens, LT Ronnie Stanley's market in NFL free agency. It's not the first time the Chiefs have been connected to Stanley this offseason, but in the past, the free agency linked felt far-fetched. Kansas City was in a tight spot financially heading into the offseason, and Stanley is a former first-round selection and first-team All-Pro whose last big contract extension cost $98.75 million. Stanley played at a much more affordable $7.5 million in 2024, but that was coming off multiple injury-ravaged seasons. The 6'6" blocker was healthy as can be in 2024, starting all 19 of the Ravens' outings, including playoffs. According to ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler, Stanley could make $2,123 million on the open market in 2025. The sense out of Indy is that the Ravens and left tackle Ronnie Stanley can agree to terms on an extension in the coming days, Fowler reported on March 2nd. That's hardly a slam dunk, but there's a sentiment to try to make that happen. Some inside the league are projecting that deal to land somewhere between $2,123 million per year. I still suspect the New England Patriots will target tackles and don't sleep on the Chiefs either, the insider added at the time. Many around the league are loosely expecting the Chiefs to entertain Stanley's market. Should he get free, will Chiefs repeat history, solve left tackle problem with former Ravens draft pick? If the Chiefs do end up finding a way to sign Stanley, history would be repeating itself in a sense. Veach traded a first-round pick and more to acquire Ravens right tackle Orlando Brown Jr. in 2021, with a plan to move Brown to left tackle. As KC supporters know, the deal worked out pretty well long-term, as Brown helped the Chiefs win the Super Bowl following the 2022 campaign. He then left in free agency, recreating the LT issue once again. It wouldn't be surprising if Veach and Kansas City tapped into the Baltimore well for a second time. The Ravens have a history of developing offensive linemen, and Stanley has proven to be one of the better left tackles in the game when healthy, not to mention stealing him away would also mean weakening an AFC rival. Chiefs trading away All-Pro star per latest report Kansas City. Chiefs fans knew the roster was going to change this offseason with numerous players due for contract extensions, and the first major domino has officially fallen. After applying the franchise tag on Trey Smith in an effort to sign a long-term extension, the Chiefs implied they were going to let at least one veteran go. Most fans expected it to be Justin Reid or Nick Bolton, but instead Kansas City elected to move on from someone who was still under contract in 2025. On Wednesday, the Chiefs reportedly sent five-time All-Pro guard Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears. This signals a massive shift in the offense and comes as a major surprise. Chiefs trade All-Pro Joe Thuney to Bears. According to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, the Chiefs will trade Thuney to the Chicago Bears. He notes that the Bears will take on the entire remaining $16 million salary Thuney was owed, quickly giving the Chiefs substantial cap room to work with as they explore deals for other players. Bears expected to trade for Joe Thuney from the Chiefs' breakfast balls at Zoo 4-5 Kansas City. Chiefs fans knew the roster was going to change this offseason, with numerous players due for contract extensions, and the first major domino has officially fallen. After applying the franchise tag on Trey Smith in an effort to sign a long-term extension, the Chiefs implied they were going to let at least one veteran go. Most fans expected it to be Justin Reid or Nick Bolton, but instead, Kansas City elected to move on from someone who was still under contract in 2025. On Wednesday, the Chiefs reportedly sent five-time All-Pro guard Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears. This signals a massive shift in the offense and comes as a major surprise. Chiefs trade All-Pro Joe Thuney to Bears, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. The Chiefs will trade Thuney to the Chicago Bears. He notes that the Bears will take on the entire remaining $16 million salary Thuney was owed, quickly giving the Chiefs substantial cap room to work with as they explore deals for other players. Adam Schefter of ESPN followed that the Chiefs will receive a 2026 fourth-round pick in exchange. That feels like a wildly low return for one of the most elite linemen in the league, and it is, though this trade is likely more about what Kansas City will do with the money he was owed than the actual pick they'll receive. Thuney spent 4 years with the Chiefs, being named to the All-Pro and Pro Bowl teams in the last 3 seasons. He was just recently named the team's MVP after moving over to left tackle in the final portion of the campaign and will be remembered for his toughness, versatility, and dependability. There's a gaping hole on the left side of the line now. Another move has to be coming, or perhaps Kansas City intends to invest heavily in the upcoming 2025 NFL Draft. Massive questions persist at left tackle, and unless the Chiefs are comfortable starting Kingsley Suamataia at left guard, Mike Caliendo is the next man up as things stand. Either way, the front office has a lot of work to do to ensure Patrick Mahomes stays upright next year.